I was recently scrolling on YouTube when I was recommended a video that caught my eye. It was a video riffing on the generic essays on music and artists, specifically the Beatles. The video, of course, had its share of hate, but I thought it was funny enough. Going on the channel, I discovered another video that caught my eye. Aerial View, Golconda, full EP. Mostly the cool art on the cover is what got me interested to listen. What I heard was some of my current favorite songs as of the time being. Golconda is a set of 4 songs I'd describe as a mix of pop and punk, which makes a great 20 minutes spent, and what I've been told by a few people I've shown is likely a more pop version of Panic at the Disco. This EP was released during 2017, but the band itself was formed as early as 2016. Unfortunately, there's very little information surrounding the band, so some of this is speculation. Their first EP from 2016, called Where, is pretty decent, but I feel is far overshadowed, for good reasons, by its follow-up. The final work Aerial View released was a single in 2017 called Family Catalog. As of the final release, the band has unfortunately disbanded, but it seems that its creator and the user who originally posted the Beatles video created a new project called Spring Silver, which I haven't put too much time into as of yet. I know this topic isn't the norm of what we normally talk about, but I felt that these creators having a mere 90 to 200 listeners a month was a shame, and that I would use the platform we've created to try and give this band some love. If you're interested, go right ahead and listen to some of this great music.
Scrolling through YouTube, I came across a video titled When a Fake High School Plays Against IMG Academy by the channel PSC Highlights. The video is a highlight reel from a high school football game that was broadcasted on ESPN back in August of 2021. In it, a team called Bishop Sycamore gets destroyed by a school called IMG Academy. At first glance, this may just seem to be a blowout game to most sports fans and nothing more. In the aftermath of the game, the Ohio Department of Education looked into the school that lost and found something interesting. Bishop Sycamore wasn't even a school at all. They were supposedly advertised as an online-only charter school that somehow had enough funding for a sports program, but lied to ESPN about the amount of players they had on their team in order to get their game televised. That's fine, I guess. Somebody would just get fired at ESPN and the story would end, right? Wrong. Looking into this even further, and here's where things start to get weird. The school's address that was listed on the website led to Phillips Hall at Franklin University in Columbus, Ohio. Upon looking into Coach Roy Johnson's background, an active arrest warrant was found for fraudulent misrepresentation. Coach Johnson also had a civil lawsuit filed against him for owing over $100,000 in unpaid hotel charges for the team. He faced additional civil charges over essentially stealing football equipment, and he also took a $100,000 loan from a bank which he never paid. Seems like a pretty genuine guy to me. As an added fact, the coach of Bishop Sycamore took all of his play calls and coaching skills straight out of the Madden video games. Sad. Some players from the team came forward during the aftermath of the IMG Academy game and added some more information to this. They all admitted to being 19 to 20-year-old men, out of the age range for high school, and they added that the team had played another game just 3 days prior to the infamous IMG game. For a game like football, a 6-day gap is required between games. Former player Aaron Boyd came forward and added the most disturbing news of all. He admitted that there was no campus nor any form of education within the organization. He also said that the team regularly paid for hotels with bounced checks. They were also subject to poor conditions and had to sleep on the floors of hotel rooms and rob stores just so they could eat. In one instance, the players of the team attacked a homeless man for trying to break into Coach Johnson's car at night. Shortly after these accusations cleared, Coach Johnson was fired and replaced with Tyron Jackson. Jackson is quoted as saying, "We are not a school. That's not what Bishop Sycamore is. And I think that's what the biggest misconception about us was, and that was our fault, because that was a mistake on paperwork." The team is hoping to continue playing games, but for now all teams that were scheduled to play them have opted out. We'll see what comes of that this fall.
Found footage is a topic we've given little attention to, something that many of you asked us to cover. While preparing topics for this season, a frequent viewer of our channel, Lucky Ducky, brought a YouTube channel to my attention. The channel itself isn't too strange, a group of what seems to be filmmakers making projects with a VHS style. What Lucky specifically had me see though is much stranger than I'd expect. Welcome to a strange series known as Life at 16B. On this channel called Barefoot and Independent, there are over 200 videos from this Life at 16B series, and each one is eerily similar. Each video is between 5 to 40 minutes in length, and all show the same older man sitting in a chair and talking to the camera. And, as of writing this video, these clips of what can be described as found footage are still coming out without any indication of stopping. The first upload was on January 4th of 2021. Hours upon hours of this man just sitting and talking to himself. Jason, the owner of this YouTube channel, luckily posted a 3-part video on the background of these strange videos. In a series called Who Is This Man?, he explains that he and his producer found 3 boxes full of VHS tapes which they quickly found were recordings of this man. Jason found that it was in fact 224 tapes just of this man, each 6 hours long. As well as that, they found that the man regularly talked about his caloric intake as if it was some sort of diet journal. Just by looking at the surface, so many questions come up. Who is this man? Why is he recording himself seemingly constantly? How did all these tapes he made end up getting lost and eventually reach this YouTube channel? Only one clue at the start of this mystery was found. By context, the man in these videos lives or lived in Verde Valley, Arizona, during the filming of these tapes. These videos are so strange and the mystery is so much stranger. It seems that nothing more has been able to be discovered since the tapes were originally found. From the date in the corner, we at least know that he either stopped or lost these tapes by 2017, which means he filmed himself over a span of at least 10 years, that we at least know of. As of now, unless the people behind this project figure it out, we have no answers. This mystery as a whole is such a bizarre one. With countless hours of this man on tape, he is still a mystery to us. Speculating on what is actually happening could be more interesting than what actually is happening. What is strange is that this man seems very dedicated or even obsessed with filming himself. So why would these tapes be discovered in a thrift store? The man in the tape does look at least a bit older, and he does have a voice that makes him sound somewhat sick.
Minigame Minecraft video.
Could this man have passed away? There's no evidence to support it. I do think it's possible that any family he has could have donated all of these tapes, because I couldn't imagine this man would have willingly done it himself. Maybe he still is out there filming himself and we just aren't aware of it. This mystery could go anywhere and only time will tell. Despite having so little known so far, we wanted to share this because there's so much dedication behind this mystery that it truly deserves to be seen.
I'm sure many of you that are fans of cryptids have seen a few claimed images of the creature known as the Thunderbird. Some are well made and many others are clearly photoshopped. Many of them though are extremely similar, showing a bird creature outstretched in a group of men posing to show the full length of the creature. Apparently they are almost all trying to recreate the supposed lost photo of the real Thunderbird taken over 130 years ago. The story of the lost photo begins in 1890s Texas, where 2 men shot and killed a large flying creature. They supposedly dragged it back to their town and nailed the animal's wings against the side of a barn, taking the picture. The picture was reported to have been shown on the town's local newspaper, the Tombstone Epitaph, later to be lost to time. Over 70 years later, the story was retold in Saga magazine, where it regained popularity. The magazine has well claimed that the photo shown originally in the old newspaper has been fully lost. The obsession to find this photo began mainly during the 90s, where many prominent cryptozoologists attempted to find the lost image. This is where many of these recreations and drawings come from as well. Could there be an actual lost image of a mythical giant bird monster? To me, I don't think so. First, many claim that it was a pterodactyl. Of course, the images claimed to be so are the outdated representation of them. Second, I wouldn't be surprised if the actual story was made up for Saga magazines to drum up interest. The mystery of a lost cryptid photo does pique my interest, though. We wanted to discuss another piece of what could be described as found media by everyone's favorite band, the Beatles. Their lost project, Everyday Chemistry. Being that I'm a pretty big Beatles fan, this should be interesting. Everyday Chemistry, though, is different compared to any other piece of found footage. This piece of media is from another dimension. The anonymous user who first revealed the lost album to the world refers to himself as James Richard. The story begins in September of 2019 when James ran into a man named Jonas who claimed to live in a parallel universe, seemingly the only change within Jonas's timeline being that the Beatles never broke up in 1970 like they did in our own world. For a long time the two spoke about their love of the Beatles. Before departing one another, though, James stole a cassette of an album post Let It Be. Specifically, this album was supposedly released in 1975. Why Jonas had a cassette on him at the time, or why he was in our universe, is beyond me. Listening to Everyday Chemistry, you'll quickly notice that the songs are remixes of songs the members created after starting their own career, such as the instance in the first song, which is a mashup of George Harrison's When We Was Fab and Band on the Run by Wings. James defended himself by saying that even though the members didn't break up, doesn't mean that their ideas they'd have in the future wouldn't still be present. So is Everyday Chemistry media from another universe found in ours? Obviously not. The project is clearly a fan project similar to the Grey album, which is a remix using the Beatles' White album and Jay-Z's Black album together, or another quote-unquote lost Beatles album called the Orange album, the third edition of the popular Red and Blue albums released in 1973. This one, however, is basically the same concept as Everyday Chemistry, except that it simply features a collection of Beatles' solo career hits that aren't remixed. The music in this album is pretty decent for a mashup of pre-established music. The story behind it, similar to Helios and Schnell Online, seems like just a strange story to drum up interest in a project. Clearly it works pretty well, as we've seen time and time again. That was some small but interesting pieces of found footage. Please, if any of you have interesting found footage you'd like for us to cover in the future, feel free to send it our way so we can take a look.
ARGs come and go. We've covered many over our time here on Going Obscure. Some, though, are forgotten to time and become the obscure of the obscure. This one being a particularly lost story. It's a simple Japanese phrase that when translated means Yume Nikki 2006 8-4. Now this is going to be good. If you didn't know, I'm a huge fan of surreal and indie games. Yeah, I'm really unique, I know. So a chance to talk about Yume Nikki is always something I'm going to take. We were hoping to make a full episode of Going Obscure on this topic, but unfortunately I found that the ARG was short-lived and wouldn't have filled an entire episode. It's actually the reason why I wanted to integrate short stories into the main series, to make sure as many of you see this. The ARG begins on the Yume Nikki subreddit, where the user by the name of Brilliant View 1965 posted an image with the title "What an Interesting Find." The image is of an old VHS tape clearly beaten up and scratched. On the face of the tape is the same title, the Japanese phrase that translates to Yume Nikki, as well as this, a date 2006, August 4th. View claims that he found the tape in a Salvation Army. He recognized the Japanese phrase and bought it on a whim. Strangely, a few users claimed that the phrase actually means dummy tape, but that seemed not to go anywhere. On May 17th of 2021, the Reddit user uploaded the contents of the VHS on YouTube under the same name. The video shows a shaky VHS style of different clips from the titular game, many scenes not being in the original game. Scrolling down to the comments, you'll find a better explanation of what actually is going on. This topic is not actually an ARG, technically. I'm assuming the majority of newcomers who found this topic, like us, found it within an ARG iceberg chart near the very bottom. In reality, I don't think this one counts. Yes, there is an interesting mystery with the tape and video, but there was no interactivity to it to make it a game. The video is actually to promote View's Yume Nikki mod that is currently being made, known simply as Yume Nikki version 1.0 mod. A mod that I definitely want to try once it comes out. It's unfortunate though that this video and the small mystery around it hasn't caught much traction, having less than 1,000 views. A promotion for a mod misinterpreted as an ARG. Hopefully the mod is appreciated more once it finally comes out. And that was 6 short stories. Some were topics Matt and I have wanted to talk about for a while, and a few were user suggestions. We want to try to integrate this side series into the main show in hopes to have more of our audience see these smaller topics that just wouldn't fit an entire episode. As well as this, we hope short stories can be in the spirit of what Going Obscure is all about, discussing and showing off mysteries, media, stories, and so much more that's been forgotten by the majority of people. Stay curious, and join us again next time when we once again go obscure.
Hey, that was my line. Stay curious. Oh, forget it. The moment passed anyway.